So it looks like we're live, Jen. Is that right?
Yes, Jim, you're live.
She hates when I do that.
Welcome to the Jim and Larry Show.
Is that what we're calling it now? That's what we're calling it for right now.
For right now, but stay tuned for a name change.
Right. Lucky number 5.
Yes.
I think we'll be great. All right. So welcome, everybody. Today is Monday. It's time for another installment, whether you are ready or not.
Here we are.
For the Jim and Larry Show. And we've got really just a handful of things to talk about tonight. And Larry, I'm going to kick it over to you if that's okay. We were talking the other night about what extreme ownership means. So there's a lot of people that toss around the word extreme or 10x or 5x or 3, whatever. But they talk about extreme. And I'm curious for you to share what your version of extreme ownership is. And then I want to talk about how we apply those principles every single day.
Sure. So extreme ownership, I can summarize it in one word. It equals freedom.
It equals freedom. Okay,
no, the word is freedom.
Oh, gotcha.
Well,
I just thought we might have to work on math.
Yes, freedom. Now, do you want me to explain why I chose the word freedom? Sure.
Senor Cone.
See. Okay, we got back from Mexico. That's why we're doing a little spangle. Okay.
What's spangle?
That's Spanish, English, and French.
Oh.
Okay.
No, go ahead. It's fine.
Extreme ownership is freedom, and because when you own everything about your life, meaning when you own your financial situation, your relationship situation, when you own your health situation, when you own everything about where you are in life, ownership means that you control it. So that means at any point you can shift, you can navigate, you can do a U-turn, you can do whatever you want to get to the next place. Without ownership, it's really hard to do that because that means you need what I call other cooperative components. So you need your wife or your kids to behave in a certain way for you to be happy. You need the government to behave in a certain way for you to feel safe. You need the bank or credit unions or to behave in a certain way for you to feel you have economic viability. You need your boss to behave in a certain way so you get satisfaction and compensation at work. So anytime that your happiness is contingent on forces outside of you, you don't have ownership of where you are. You are dependent upon someone or something else to make you happy, satisfied, fulfilled. When you have extreme ownership, you take control of the situation and you have freedom.
I like that. That seems like a good explanation. I think it really defines who you are. For the people that might be listening, you know, my mom, your mom,
right?
One of the kids, those 3 that are tuning in to this show for right now, what are some of the things that you have identified? And before I say that, I want to preface this in the fact that all of us are going through something. And you never know what the person across from you, next to you, is going through. But chances are they're going through something that in their life could either make or break them at any time. And they're always afraid, and I'm no different, and I think you're no different, that sometimes you let those fears creep in.
Yes.
Of, if I'm not careful, this could break me. But you have a unique way, and after knowing you now for a decade almost, I've developed a way to take those situations that may break the average person and use them to drive and motivate. So the preface in this is it doesn't matter what you're going through. We're all going through something. It matters that you take what you're going through, you find a way to leverage that to your benefit. You know, in a company that we worked with before, they used to say, don't make your reason why your reason why not.
Yes.
And some of the examples of that would be where I've got this great thing I've got to do, but I've got the kids.
Right.
Right? And like the kids are a disease. I got a case of the kids. I better wash them off before they spread like COVID. Instead, the answer should be, oh my God, I've got this great thing that I get to do because I've got the kids.
Yeah, or because I want to set a role model for my kids, or I want to set an example for my kids. So you said a lot of things, a lot of great things. I just want to maybe summarize it into 3 points. First, I really liked what you said when you said you don't know what the person sitting next to you is going through, or the person driving next to you, or the person in the same room as you. You don't know what they're going through. So one of the things that I've done in my life is I've always assumed the best because I don't know. So for example, and it's hard all the time, but for example, someone is driving down the road and they cut me off, or they flip me off, or they do something else. I don't want that person to take away my happiness and throw me offline. So I just assume that person's had a really bad day, and in some way that form of venting helped them release some negative energy. But instead of me getting mad at them or dropping to their level and saying F you and this and that would give that person the power. So I always assume the best about anyone else that I am meeting, or at least I make an attempt to. The second thing...
Time out.
Yeah.
I have to interrupt you because we are obviously dramatically different in how we convey messages. We think a lot alike.
Yeah.
But people that know you and me, they're like, Jim,
right.
Jim's an a-hole.
Yeah.
They don't know you.
Right.
You've got some qualities. But so it just piggybacking on what you said, I assume they're going to hit a pothole soon, and I'm going to watch pieces of their tire go flying,
yes,
which makes me happy.
Right.
Right? But I still don't give them any energy. I just wait for karma to take over. Is that bad?
I mean, it's unusual. But no, I mean, it's not bad. And I don't really know if you really think that deep within you. That might be an outer reaction, but I don't know if the inner being of you really... Once
they're tired of pop?
Right.
I mean, I don't want them to get hurt.
Right.
But $195 penalty for flicking me off to put a new tire on.
Yeah, so that does, in my opinion, that does throw your energy off, because anytime you're wishing ill will on someone else, you're
But that to me is goodwill for me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm throwing off your
right.
whole
No.
message.
I would just say it's not. You may think it is, but it's really not. So there might be the
time for the U-turn.
The satisfaction that you're getting from that it doesn't come from an authentic place.
I authentically feel it at the time, though.
That I don't disagree with.
All right. So you had a part 2, and I interrupted. So do you remember what it was, or did I really throw you off?
Yeah. So that's my comment on you never know what the person is going through next to you.
For sure.
So I always assume the best. So that's number 1. Number 2.
Now I feel bad about the broken tire thing. I don't really want your tire to break, everyone. Anyway,
see,
go ahead.
I told you. Number 2. Shoot, now my train of thought is gone.
Keep your mouth on the microphone.
My train of thought is gone.
Keep your mouth on it, Larry. Okay. So you never know what the person next to you.
Yeah, I do my best. I'm not saying that sometimes I don't want them to hit the pothole too, but I do my best, and I try to teach my kids to always just assume the best. You don't know if that person just lost a relative to death. You don't know. So I find that when I'm kind to others, I'm kinder to myself, because I will tell you, there's times that I've accidentally cut someone off, or there's times that I've been at a stoplight and didn't notice and someone's honking behind me and things like that. So I didn't mean it, I didn't mean to do it. So I just try to spread that goodwill.
All right, so I've got a funny story about you that you just made me think of. So Larry has an incredible life. For those of you that don't know him, and he's had crazy ups, crazy downs. I've had crazy ups, crazy downs. But I just remember the look on Larry's face. He lives in a hotel in one of his places, in a condo in a hotel. So he lives in a hotel, which is really kind of one of my lifelong dreams. But So Larry came home one night, and for those of you that have ever ridden with Larry, his parking is subpar at best.
Wait, I don't think so.
And he comes in, and there's a note on his car
Oh, yeah.
that says,
Nice.
and I quote, "What kind of asshole not
Right.
only takes up one handicap parking spot, but two?" So there's these handicap parking spots that go like this. For those of you on the podcast, it's hard to understand, but they go like this. But there's poles here and here. So Larry pulls in, takes up both handicap parking spots on accident,
Yes.
and somebody put a note on your door. And that just, on your window, that made me think of you
Yes.
now with you never know what the average person is going for, and you try and be kind to yourself.
Right, I do. So the part 2 of this is
You just moved right on. Fair, go ahead.
no, I remembered there were 3.
That was my goal.
Oh, okay, well, you achieved it.
Yay. Hola,
Yay,
Lali.
Jim.
Okay.
Yeah, so part 2 is what I've learned has come through my own experiences, meaning I've been homeless for a couple different times. I've been, living what they call pillar to post. I've had no income. I've, eaten scraps off the street, so to speak. I've been hungry. I've been all that stuff. But what I learned during that time is what I learned during that time is the power of focus. And that means anything I give my attention to became more real and more magnified in my life. So even though I was hungry and I didn't know where I was sleeping, it was fall and the leaves were pretty. And I remember just making a decision one day that I was going to spend more time looking at the gold and the reds in the leaves than thinking about where I was, because I couldn't change where I was, but I could change what I was thinking about for that moment. And when I changed my thoughts, I just became a little bit happier. Didn't change that I was homeless, but I became a little bit happier. And sometimes people don't realize that they have the power to become happier at any moment in time by just shifting the attention of where they're giving their thought to. That was huge for me. Huge. And it serves me.
And I've seen you do that.
Yeah, it serves me well this day, and it's something that I've tried to share with my children and my grandchildren, is that you can't control conditions, but you can choose your point of focus. And when you choose your point of focus, you can create a little bit softer ride for you and a little bit happier place. So that's really fun for me to do, is to be in a dark zone and somehow find the comfort of the dark zone.
Yeah, the little bit of light that exists, because there's always
Yeah.
light. It's funny. I've heard people say, and I've said, and I know you've said, but thoughts are things, and they
Right.
truly are, because whatever you put your attention on, whether you believe in law of attraction or not, it's going to work.
Yes.
So it's kind of like the kid walking across the dock, and the mother says, "Don't fall in."
Yeah.
What happens next?
He
the
falls
kid falls
in,
in,
right,
right? Because they can't.
Yeah.
The body, the mind, the
Right.
spirit, whatever
Right.
you cling to,
Yes.
doesn't understand, can't, doesn't, don't.
Right.
Anything that is a negative, it will just take out.
Right.
So what that kid heard was, "Fall in."
Yes.
So he fell in. So
Absolutely.
it's about changing the wording and the way you view things to things. Instead of saying "don't fall in," say "stay on the dock."
Yes.
Focus on where
Yes.
you are.
Yes.
Hey,
Jim and I were on Vic Porcelli's show, Porcelli's Deli, earlier today, and I think.
Shout out to Porcelli's
Yes.
Deli.
Hey, Vic.
Hey, Vic. Yo, Vic.
I don't know if it was you that said this or Vic.
Was it brilliant?
It was.
Then it was me.
I thought it was brilliant.
Okay.
So what was brilliant is you were talking about how back in the old days, kids would swim in the Hudson River in New
That
York.
was George Carlin that said that.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, but and it was full of sewage and all the stuff, but they were fine. They didn't get sick from it. You know why? Because they didn't have the awareness that all that was bad.
Right.
Once all the press and all that, once you become aware that something isn't good for you, then it's just like you said, don't fall off the dock, you'll fall off.
Well, yeah, and you know what's funny about that is, and you went through this, there were really 3 people that went through this with me, and none of them more than you. But about a year ago, I went through a terrible medical situation, and I would joke because I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me, so I went to WebMD.
Oh, yeah.
And I would joke with people, and they'd say, "Well, what is it?" I said, "I don't know, but I went to WebMD. It turns out I've been dead for 3 weeks."
Right,
Right?
exactly.
Because
Yes.
when you read it, you're like, I have
Yes.
this and this and this, and the probability of survival is none.
Right.
I'm already gone.
Right.
So it's true. Thoughts are things, and you are a respondent to the conditions that are petitioned at you.
Well, that's brilliant.
And it's true. Oh yeah, right. Hold on.
Write that down.
Write that down. I'll just have to. I'll ask someone
later
close
what
to
that
me
meant.
if they could write that down and send it to me, because I'll forget. But it's true, and
It is.
there are things that happen. Like you and I have recently started going to the gym,
Yes.
and it was really crazy how emotional I got the first time I was able to do the elliptical rider or the elliptical machine, whatever
Yeah.
you call it, for 10 minutes. Because 3 years ago, I could do it for an hour.
Right.
A year ago, I couldn't do it for 3 minutes without like my legs giving out, and I literally fell off the machine at one point in time. So to be able to do it for 10 minutes to come back,
It's great.
it was super emotional. And one of the things I want to give a big shout out, because when I was going through that, I was looking for doctors and looking for things, and I couldn't find what I needed. And we've been talking about a guy recently by the name of Andy Frisella.
Right.
Frisella, I think I'm saying it right. But he is the co-founder, current CEO of Supplement Superstore, does a ton of podcasts. But I went in there, and what he says on his website is so true. I went in there and I genuinely felt like the people that work there cared about me.
Definitely.
They're homegrown,
Yes.
they're St. Louis people, and I got these supplements and I got things that made me feel better about myself and made me feel strong enough to come back. But the reason why I bring that up is because he has a program called Hard 75 or 75 Hard. Wow, sorry if I butchered that up. We'll correct it in the comments below. But the goal of that is to be able to go 75 days in a row as hard as you can, very strict, very restrictive, and go for your goals.
Right.
Whatever those goals are, to just bust it out. And you bust it out every single day, 75 days in a row, no excuses, no compromises. And we agreed for this first round to do what? What was our agreement for the gym?
28 straight days.
28 straight days. And it's going to be tough because Wednesday you go out of town.
But we're going to do it virtually.
We're going to do a collaborative workout
Right.
via Zoom to make sure that we're there. But I bring all this up because it is about accepting the conditions that are given to you or taking ownership
Right.
of what's going on. And I really wanted to be able to, in this segment today, as we're going through, set up the fundamental, or I guess moreover, the foundational basis for what the segment of our podcast, Extreme Ownership, is going to be about. It's 75 Hard. Thank you, Jen.
So can I just...
So you got to follow a diet, work out twice a day for at least 45 minutes, drink 4 liters of water, read 10 pages of a nonfiction good book every day, take a 5-minute cold shower, take progress photos every day, perform other unrelated random acts of kindness, or talk to someone in person. We should switch.
Yes.
You want to switch?
Yes.
We'll do that. We'll give you the details. We'll set our goals. We'll post them on the podcast page, and we'll go from there. But that's pretty amazing. But it's all over. I'm looking at these search results. It's in the UK. It's in all different kinds of search results here, but started from a local St. Louis guy.
Nice.
Who built Supplement Superstore and then subsequently First Form to prominent, nationwide, recognized organizations, all based out of St. Louis.
You know, Jim, when I was homeless and broke, I was angry at a lot of people because I felt I had been taken advantage of. A lot of people owed me money. They didn't pay me when I'm sitting there homeless and broke. They didn't even send me $25. I was angry at my family for not opening their doors for me. I was angry at so many people. And as I talk about it, I even get more angry because I feel that I was taken advantage of and maybe even victimized. But I realized that would never help me get to the next level.
Right.
So what I want to say, what extreme ownership to me is, it's freedom. But here's 2 sentences that I use, and maybe this can be on our Facebook page. And I think it'll help everybody if you say this every day. Someone asked me, what do you say in the morning? Here it is. My happiness depends on me. Everybody else is off the hook.
Wow.
And that means I just says it all. If you want to know more, message me.
Yeah, say it one more time so everyone can
My
hear.
happiness depends on me. Everyone else is off the hook.
That's a fantastic
Thanks.
quote. And I think it really ties into the extreme ownership component.
It does.
So as we develop this podcast and our message, what do you want to say to those that might be trying to better understand what extreme ownership should be for them? What are the baby steps of this
and
for you, Larry?
Gosh, I am so. Sometimes we're really in sync, and sometimes we're not. Like Jim said, we're really different.
Keep your mouth on it.
Okay, but that is exactly what I was going to say. It's baby steps. Like you get there just a little bit more today, a little bit more tomorrow, just a little bit. It doesn't have to be giant leaps. You don't have to be perfect. Just a little more. And before you know it, you've created momentum, and then things begin to flow faster. So what are some of the baby steps you can take is, number 1, make a decision that nothing is more important than your happiness. That the purpose of my life is joy and happiness. That's what it is. So anytime that things that happen to me that are not happy and that upset me, that's when I take just a little shift in the focus. And I don't mean that I can go from 100% of some situation that is really troubling to me to 100% happy, but I can go from 100% of a situation that's troubling to me to 97% that's troubling to me. And then I can take it to 95, and then I can take it to 93, and then I can take it to 89. So I take it incrementally in small steps. I had a newsletter that I wrote a while back for NexCore called The Positive Power of Negative Emotion. And so many...
I loved that.
Yeah, so many people today are like, think positively. And I'm like, I can't think positively. I'm broke. I'm homeless. Like, I can't think positively. But what I can do is I can use the power of negativity, meaning I'm in such a negative place right now, and I can build off that negativity. And specifically what I mean by that is when I was broke, I knew more clearly than ever that I wanted wealth. When I was hungry at night, I knew more clearly than ever that I wanted food. So I didn't jump from being hungry to being satisfied, but I jumped from hungry to knowing what I want. And when you know what you want, you have clarity.
For sure.
And clarity feels good. So there is such power in negative emotion because negative emotion often births clarity, and clarity is good.
Trying to move myself up so I'm closer to Larry.
I love this conversation.
Yeah. So can I creep a little bit inside your soul here and prepare people for what I think I'd like to dive into in the next couple weeks? So when Larry talks about being in a dark place and I talk about being in a dark place, we've been in some dark places. And I imagine some of you are in dark places now. And if you're okay with it, in the next couple of weeks, I'd like to really dive into just how dark some of those places got and what it took to take ownership. Because I love what you said about, the baby steps. The first one is make a decision that nothing is more important than your happiness. But I think you missed the second step.
Sure.
The second step is after you make a decision, you have to take action based on that decision.
Yes.
And sometimes the best action to take is not take the action that you were thinking of taking.
Yes.
And it's a scary place when things are falling apart. And we'll really dive into that in the next week or two. But extreme ownership is about accepting where you are and accepting that nobody got you there but you. Every decision that you made,
right,
good or bad, positive or negative. It had nothing to do with Donald Trump or Barack Obama or Lyda Cruzan or Sam Page or any other politician that you can fit in there. Everybody is where they are because of the choices that they made. Even tragedy.
Yes.
Where, in fact, I know we were about to move off subject, but we were watching an episode of The Prophet.
Yeah.
A couple of nights ago. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Larry and I are watching The Prophet. We were going to go to the casino, but we were watching The Prophet, and that took precedent over going to the casino. And what was so amazing about this is you've got a family business that's a father-son, and the reason why the business existed is because the mother was killed in 9/11.
Yeah, and they used the money that they got from her to start the business.
Right. And from that situation that was obviously no fault of hers, but ultimately she chose to step foot inside the World Trade Center that day. And that may be a controversial statement, but it's a real statement. You are where you are as a result of every single choice that you've ever made in your life. And you can't change it. So be thrilled with where you are, because at least you know.
I love that.
Yeah. Think about the unempowering feeling. Think about this. You're in your car, and you turn on the GPS, and you realize you don't have internet, so it can't figure out where you are.
Oh, God.
And therefore, if you don't know where you are, it can't tell you where to go.
Right.
So be grateful.
That's...
Like, take it in that you know where you are, because when you know where you are, you know how to get where you want to go. But the GPS, the inside, that Wi-Fi signal, that internet signal, is extreme ownership.
Spot on, Jim Shelby.
Thank you, Larry Cohn. Hola, Larry.
Hola, Jim.
Okay, anyway, so take extreme ownership.
Yeah.
But before we do that, we want to hear a word from a couple of our sponsors. We're going to hear from Denali first, and then Twins Red Carpet, I think. So did you know Denali delivers? Hear all about it.
Denali delivers. Here's how it works. Make a list of what you need. We source from Home Depot or the hardware store of your choice. Text the list to 314-499-2992 to start your order. Then, Denali delivers your order on the scheduled delivery date. Denali delivers.
Your car cost a fortune. If it's not looking that way, there's a way to turn back the clock and turn up the value. Schedule regular car detailings with Twins Red Carpet Wash. Whether you need to maintain, restore, or completely revive your ride, Twins will dramatically transform any car disaster. Twins offers top-notch customer service and quality cleaning. You'll enjoy walking the red carpet every time you drop off your car. Call now and experience Twins Red Carpet Wash, simply the best car detailing service in St. Louis. Find out why Twins Red Carpet Wash has a 5-star Google rating and stellar Google reviews. Get your car washed and leave a review to receive a discount on your next wash. It's not clean until Twins says it's clean. Perfection in auto detailing is just a call away. Contact Twins at 314-391-9100 to book your appointment. Learn more about Twins' complete selection of service at twinsredcarpet.com.
Hi, I'm Twin. This is my company, Twins Red Carpet Auto Detailing. Can't wait to book you for an appointment.
We are back. We're back a little bit early. Premature cancellation by Jen, but it's fine. I'm going to have a little fun here. And we're gonna. I Googled some things I bet you didn't know. And there's some extreme ownership inside of here and a little bit of fun. And some of it just makes me happy. It exemplifies karma. So here's the first little known fact. And I just want your response, Larry. Are you ready?
Yes.
The founder of Pringles was buried in a Pringles can.
No.
Did you know that?
I did not
No,
know
this
that.
is a real fact.
Okay. No, I had no idea. Was it sour cream and onion?
Wow. Salt and vinegar, I think.
Oh.
Anyway, so little known fact. Anyway, here's another one.
That's consistency in marketing.
Yes. Once you pop, you're dead. Okay. Here's an interesting one, and I think this is there's a business lesson in here. Are you ready? Walt Disney decided to put trash cans no more than 30 steps apart in Disneyland after observing guests in other parks and averaging about how many steps a person was willing to take before just dropping the trash on the ground. Have you heard that before?
No, I haven't.
But it is interesting because
That's about
a lot of people, look, let's just be real. A lot of people would be
Right.
pissed off about it. And they're
Right.
like, why are they throwing the trash in there? He looked at it and said, here's the problem. We know the statistics.
Right.
Now we'll solve it. Anyway, here's another interesting one. The first person sentenced to the stocks in Boston was Edward Palmer, the builder of said stocks. His crime? Charging too much for building the stocks. That is karma. Take a look at that. If you can
That
see that
is.
little image.
That's crazy.
There he is, locked in. Poor Edward. Anyway,
That's kind of you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
right. Here's a you're damned and it sucks. Are you ready?
Yes.
The founder of Match.com, Gary Kremen, lost his girlfriend to a man she met on Match.com.
That's great.
He's like, I should have created Tinder.
Right.
Anyway, in 1985, a New Orleans man drowned at a party attended by 100 lifeguards. They were celebrating going an entire summer without a drowning at a city pool. These are interesting
gosh.
things. Ampersand and mean different things in movie credits. Two writers' names joined with an ampersand, that's the and symbol, means they collaborated, while and means they worked on the script at different times.
I had no idea.
I don't know if it's even relevant, but I found it interesting, so I thought I would Google it and share it with you today. So we're going to get into law of attraction here on the one after this next one. But
Okay.
listen here. In Holland's embassy in Moscow, two Siamese cats kept meowing and clawing at the walls of the building. Their owners finally investigated, thinking they would find mice. Instead, they found microphones hidden by Russian spies.
Wow.
Yes, that's not of any relevance, but this one is. In the entire state of Ohio in 1895, there were only 2 cars on the road. And these drivers of these 2 cars actually crashed into each other. So here's the actual picture of the crash. I got to get it on there. There we go. I got to back up. There's the actual picture from the crash. I don't know why this is so... I really should not be allowed to do this ever again. There it is. Anyway, so here's something funny. And people say I'm a jerk, right? But President Lyndon B. Johnson owned an amphibious car, the Amphicar, and used it to scare guests by driving them into his lake screaming about brake failure.
That is good.
I would
Screw.
totally do
Jim
that.
would love that.
I would love that. Now I
Yes.
need an Amphicar.
Right.
So this is something we shouldn't joke about during COVID times, but I felt compelled to joke about it
Nonetheless,
during
we will.
COVID times. Right. When The Princess and the Frog came out, 50 children were hospitalized with salmonella from kissing frogs.
Gosh.
So subsequently, the rest of the world was required to wear masks and not shop.
Woo.
Too soon? I think that was it. Was that the end of our little story? Yeah, those are my 10 fun facts. So if you have fun facts, send them to us so we can share something much better than what I just shared. Anyway, so what's the moral of the story you took from that, Larry?
That I don't understand why they didn't ban frogs.
Oh.
Because, I mean, as long as there are frogs, there could be kids that want to kiss them, and so we should remove all frogs.
You know what we should do? We should take those 50 kids and put them in these stocks.
Yes.
And then if they still don't listen, we should bury them in a Pringles can or behind the walls. And then their parents, distraught, will